Shabbat Shalom, everyone. You ever wonder when we talk about the idea of a Messiah or a Messianic age, which is part of Jewish liturgy, part of Jewish experience, but part of many religions' experience and philosophy? What is that going to look like? What's going to happen? Anyone want to share something you've heard or you might believe will happen when the Messiah arrives? Michal. The lion will lie down with the lamb. And what you mean by that, there's going to be a lion and a lamb, or?
It's the idea of the fierce and the helpless being able to be together.
Oh, beautiful. The fierce and the helpless will lie down together. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Yeah, Diane. We will all be dancing in Jerusalem. In Jerusalem. Thank you, Diana. Thank you very much. Yes, we'll all be dancing in Jerusalem. Nice. Anyone else? I should probably add to the conversation, the Buffalo Bills will win a Super Bowl. This week's Torah portion gives us a glimpse of what this period will look like. And the rabbis debate what is meant here. And I think it unpacks a little bit about what's at stake when we sort of envision this time of this Messianic age. So I invite everyone to open up their red Humashim. These are big red books. You've been reading out of the small red books. These are even larger red books. Please turn to page 748. We're in the book of Leviticus, chapter 26, verse 6. As you're going to see a number of times this morning, we are completing the third book of the 5 books of Moses, the book of Leviticus. And when we wrap up a section of oratory, of speech, there is a list of blessings and curses. If you listen and follow the whole speech of Leviticus, then you're going to have great things happen to you. And if you don't, then bad things will happen to you. You see this pattern now. You'll see it at the end of Numbers. You'll see it again in the end of Deuteronomy. And in describing, what will happen, we get a flavor of a Messianic age. And here we are on verse 6, and if we listen, here's what happens. Venatati shalom ba'aretz, I will grant peace in the land, and you shall lie down untroubled by anyone. I will give the land respite from vicious beasts, and no sword shall cross your land. Here is what the rabbis want us to understand, or try to figure out here. What is meant by V'hishbeiti chaya ra'ah? I will stop the evil beasts. Describe for me, if you're explaining this to someone else, what does God mean here when God says, I'm going to stop the evil beasts? It makes perfect sense to everyone. How does God destroy the evil, stop the evil beasts?
I think that we will live in actual safety. There's a sense of safety and security.
Yes.
I've got probably a lot more to say about it, but I'll keep it brief. So I'm going to say that that's really what it is. It's extremely aspirational.
Of course it's aspirational. I want to know specifically. Of course the reward is we get to live with peace and security. But what happens to the evil beasts? What's going to happen to them?
They vanish.
They disappear. Thank you. One answer, right? They are going to poof. They are going to disappear. Yep. Great. Anyone else ever wonder what's going to happen to all? Yeah, Judy.
Well, they need to eat if they're going to continue to exist, but maybe they would learn to recognize human beings and not to touch.
Thank you both. The evil beast will become educated. And they won't bother the people of Israel. They won't bother the people of this world. They will perhaps eat vegetarian, or they definitely won't bother the humans of this world. Or
Or other evil beasts.
oh, maybe there'll be a whole evil beast section, and they'll deal with each other, and then the good people on the other side. Okay, very nice, Jack.
I think it has to do with people acting like animals and being vicious to other people and treating people very, very badly. That's what I think it is.
And the Messianic age, the people that are treating each other badly, what happens to them?
They will not be there.
They're gone. They disappear.
So people treat each other very with respect and honor.
People will treat each other with respect and honor. So I really appreciate actually the two sides of the aisle here, because this is exactly how the rabbis debated what these words meant. Okay? Over here, you have one other after it's been set up so perfectly, Diana? Are you sure? Okay. Thank you, good friend. Over here, you might think it's Diana, but actually, it is, Diana is Rabbi Judah, Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says, when the Messiah comes, all the evil beasts, they're going to either disappear, they're going to be eradicated, they'll be completely removed, so at the start of the Messianic age, there will be no evil beasts. They will be gone, right? So if you were, I don't know, a lion, you're gone. There's no more lion. Assuming a lion is an evil beast, I apologize for those who are lion advocates, but those evil beasts are going to be removed. That's Rabbi Yehuda. On the other hand, is Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon says, no. The Yetzer, the evil inclination that rests inside an evil beast, that makes it evil, will be removed, and then there won't be an evil beast anymore, but there will be beasts or good beasts, right? They won't physically be removed, but the negative spiritual aspects of them, their inclination will be removed. It'll be much more healthy, and then the Messianic age will be only good living creatures, not bad. That is the side of Rabbi Shimon. By the way, very interesting for us to hear this from Rabbi Shimon. This is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So those of us who are familiar with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai know that during a time of Roman persecution of the rabbis, he goes and hides in a cave and only studies the Torah. It's believed that he writes the book of mysticism during that time. And here is Rabbi Shimon saying, who is completely removed from humanity, saying, actually, what this is all about is inclination and not the physical peace. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is also noticing that there's a capacity for anyone to be redeemed if one commits to learning and to growing. These two rabbis also debate on a similar word in the earlier part of the Torah, in the book of Exodus, chapter 12 to 26. They debate on what happens to chametz. Chametz. So we are about to leave Egypt in the book of Exodus, and God says, before you go, couple of rules. Rule number 1, you're going to eat matzah. Rule number 2 is you can't eat chametz. It must be completely the hishbat, removed or destroyed in your dwellings. And here are our friends, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon, having a debate. What does Rabbi Yehuda say? Of course, we must completely burn, destroy all of the chametz. That's the leaven products that exist in our house. And by the way, if you celebrate Passover and you have been in Israel or some areas, we have what's called a bi'ur chametz. We burn all of the chametz. Because for Rabbi Yehuda, when something needs to be removed, it must be completely physically destroyed. What does Rabbi Shimon say? Rabbi Shimon says, what is meant by that is it will be scattered on the floors of your home, right, so that the animals will eat it, but you won't eat it yourself. You can see what Rabbi Shimon is getting at. So we don't have to completely destroy these objects, but they can serve another worthwhile purpose by feeding the pets in our home. These two rabbis continue to debate about things like objects that are not to be used on holidays or on Shabbat. There's a concept called muhtzah, which is if you don't need something for the purpose of celebrating a Jewish holiday or Shabbat, it should be completely removed from your home. This is something that Rabbi Yehuda believes in. It should not be a part because it will take away. Whereas Rabbi Shimon says, it can be there, but make sure when you use it for something that will benefit you on Shabbat. So there's a debate about can you use oil that is not designated for Shabbat, but Rabbi Shimon says you can leave it in the house because it might give off a nice fragrance, it might enhance your experience in some way. And we see here once again, Yehuda is saying anything that can distract, anything that can take away in its entirety should be set aside. Whereas Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is saying, what is its purpose? What will become of it? And perhaps if we utilize it in the right way, it can be used, it can be redeemed. I want to bring us back to original question. Is what awaits us in the Messianic age? And linked to this is, well, what happens to the bad? What happens to the evil? And it's an important question because we all want a time where, whether it be the lion lying down with the lamb, whether it be a time of peace, shalom, security, we're all striving for that. But for that to happen, we must remove those things that will take away. And therefore, there's a lot at stake when we look at the world around us and we see the forces that take away a sense of peace and security from ourselves and from our neighbors. And then we've got to look at how does Rabbi Shimon and how does Rabbi Yehuda deal with those challenges. For Rabbi Yehuda, it's very clear. If something is evil, it must be removed. Full stop. For Rabbi Shimon, it must be redeemed, which is to say that its intent is in the wrong place, and it must learn to be used so that it can be channeled for a higher purpose. I'm not here to tell you which side to go with. I'd rather leave it for you to listen in the circles that you are in for the voices of Rabbi Yehuda and the voice of Rabbi Shimon, just to see how this very conflict still takes place today, and perhaps for many of us, it's in the echo chambers of our hearts. To highlight that the rabbis were aware that there were people in this world who sought evil, who sought to destroy the Jewish people. Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Yehuda also have a different philosophy on it. The ultimate enemies of the Jewish people are, according to the Torah, the Amalekites. For Rabbi Yehuda, what is the goal of how we should deal with the Amalekites? Is we are to follow the command that they are to be destroyed. And therefore, we must stand up to the Amalekites and destroy them. Some of our kings were punished for not doing this in the times of the prophets. What does Rabbi Shimon do? What does Rabbi Shimon do? Rabbi Shimon says, it's not the Amalekites themselves who are to be destroyed, but rather it is the memory of the Amalekites. This idea that if you are an Amalekite thinker, right, your way of seeing the world, your way of seeing the Jewish people, that has to be destroyed. And that is the target. Very interesting piece here is I gave a quote about how the King Saul or other kings of Israel were punished for not following that rule. In a related lesson in the Talmuds of Gittin, section 67a, there's a teaching that the descendants of Haman studied Talmud in Bnei Brak. So again, I'm not here to share with you, is it a Rabbi Shimon world? Is it a Rabbi Yehuda world? But I hope if I could offer everyone just to listen to those two voices, to help frame some of the emotions that we deal with during these dangerous times when anti-Semitism and other forces of instability that cause us to not feel a sense of safety and security are on the rise. How do we respond? Do we listen to Rabbi Judah? Do we listen to Rabbi Shimon? The answer's in your hands. Shabbat Shalom.